This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, Maniatoto residents are frustrated by a lack of council action over repair of bridges flooded last year. A series of vehicle crashes in Dunedin keep emergency services busy in the city. And Destination Queenstown reveals the person who'll lead the tourism organisation into a new era. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Hannah Wilkins. Almost 18 months after their bridge was swept away in floodwaters, a group of Maniatoto residents say they're feeling shafted by inaction by the Central Otago District Council. 3 bridges were closed following floods in January 2021, but there's still no decision on whether they'll even be repaired.
The waters of the Kyburn River may look calm and tranquil today, but in January 2021, this bridge spanning the river at Scott Lane was swept away by floods. A year and a half on, Maniatoto farmer Tony Steele is one of a group of locals frustrated by the lack of action by the Central Otago District Council on whether or not to repair the bridge.
It's been 18 months since the bridge has been gone and we've heard absolutely nothing. You know, if it's not going to be replaced, well, let us know, but we don't know anything.
Engineers inspected other bridges after last year's floods, which saw 2 more being closed. This one crossing the Tairi River on Maniatoto Road was shut after cracks were found in the load-bearing timber beams of the nearly 100-year-old structure. Some closures have meant detours of up to 18 kilometres, which is a lot of time when transporting stock and feed along narrow country lanes. Farmer Matt Scott and his young family have been trying to get some progress out of the council with little success.
They say the same thing and say they're trying to get onto it and just sort of pass the buck on to staff and people leaving and engineers and surveyors leaving the council payroll, but yeah, it's not hard for someone to draw up a plan and let us know. That's the main issue.
The closed bridges aren't marked on Google Maps, which is catching out some travellers. And there's also concerns emergency services don't know about the necessary detours. Farmer David Greer says he'd be very disappointed if the bridges weren't reinstated.
The council's core business is to provide amenities and services and roading and networks. And it's a backwards sign when they start saying, well, we'll just close this bridge because there's another way. So what are they going to close next? Are they going to close the swimming pool because they have to fix it? Are they going to close the library because the books cost too much?
The Central Otago District Council says it will discuss the future of the bridges in a fortnight. Getting the funds to replace them would require community consultation and cooperation with Waka Kotahi NZ Transport Agency. The council says the cost of replacing the washed-out Scott Lane Bridge alone is likely to exceed $1.5 million. In the Maniatoto, the South Today.
Construction is now taking over from demolition at the new hospital site in Dunedin as workers start driving about 80 foundation piles into the ground. Ministry of Health Construction Director Andrew Holmes says the outpatient building of the new Dunedin Hospital will start to take shape in about 5 months' time.
Around about the sort of late spring, early summer, we should see some work above the ground and people will start to see the full intent of the building and the scale, and then by the end of the summer, you know, the frame will be relatively established and people can see the form and function and the heights.
The piles will be driven in by a custom-built 14-ton hammer, which has been dubbed Hammeroid by Otago Daily Times readers. More than 400 piles will be required for the entire hospital build. A series of vehicle crashes in Dunedin have kept emergency services busy over the last 24 hours.
2 people were injured shortly after lunchtime following a crash involving a bus and 2 cars near Cargill's Corner in South Dunedin. The road was blocked and diversions were in place while the area was cleared and assessed. Late yesterday afternoon, a driver was left covered in milkshake after a collision between a truck and a car on Dunedin's one-way system. The driver of a Suzuki Swift had tried merging lanes to make a turn but failed to see the truck on Cumberland Street. The truck received damage to its front and there was extensive damage to the right-hand side of the car. However, no injuries were reported from the accident. And police removed a hatchet from the hood of a crashed SUV after it ploughed through a fence along Dukes Road North near Mosgiel last night. A 32-year-old man was later arrested in relation to the crash. It's understood the suspended driver had smashed car windows and threatened someone with a tomahawk before taking off in the car, crashing it and fleeing the scene. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A new viewing area above the White Horse, carved into a hill behind Waimate, is now officially open. Local residents and about 600 school children turned out on Thursday for the unveiling ceremony. The $600,000 project to redevelop the White Horse Monument has taken 8 months of hard work. Viewing platforms have been built overlooking the area, along with a car park and information panels on the history of the South Canterbury town. The regal White Horse itself is classed as a significant landmark. It's been restored with glow-in-the-dark white paint. Carved wooden columns called poikuras were created for the project by local pupils. Destination Queenstown has revealed the person who'll lead the tourism organisation as the region's tourism sector rebuilds. Matt Woods previously worked for Real NZ and Cadrona, and CSC's excited for the next chapter of the Queenstown story.
New Destination Queenstown CEO Matt Woods has strong ties to the region's tourism industry. He's taking on the top job at the tourism organisation at a difficult time. Queenstown has struggled over the last few years during the pandemic, with the lack of visitors, increasing cost of living and staff shortages. But he believes the time is right for Queenstown's tourism industry to get back into the swing of things again.
You know, full credit to all of those operators that have hung in there and survived, and now it's actually time to get back into, just getting back into business and welcoming our visitors back, and then equally finding that workforce. That is the hardest thing right now.
The 50-year-old is originally from Manawatu, but has been living in Otago for the last 30 years. Woods has a strong passion for Queenstown and the reputation it holds, after spending his career at top tourism businesses including Cadrona Alpine Resort, Treble Cone and Real NZ. He admits the new role will be challenging, but is excited for what Destination Queenstown can accomplish over the next few years.
It's really around that regenerative tourism space by 2030. It's telling stories around our place and our people, and actually welcoming people that want to be here in the district and enjoy what we have to offer.
Woods is keen to hit the ground running with his new position at Destination Queenstown as international tourists begin to return to the region. The first direct international flight into Queenstown Airport in more than 330 days is set to arrive from Sydney on Monday. In Queenstown, the South Today.
Yakane, still to come on the South Today. School kids in Goa are turning an old landfill into a native forest. And 3 Kiwi astrophotographers snap winning shots showcasing the beauty of the Milky Way galaxy.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Living Well Disability Resource Centre, a not-for-profit charitable organisation and your one-stop shop for information and resources to help you retain independence. We offer a wide range of assistive products from jar openers to mobility scooters and provide assessments for Total Mobility, the half-price taxi scheme. Come and see the friendly team. You'll find us on the corner of George and Bath Streets, ground floor of Burns House.
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need, from answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one. We can help. Call Gillian's today.
My mate John's gone mad. Mad at beds, that is. Bedlam Bed Sale. 1/3 off beds and bedroom. Only at John's Furniture Warehouse, Stafford Street.
And my mate John.
Spark your joy with jazz, the next generation from Honda.
Hi, we're H Concern Otago.
H Concern Otago hosts a multitude of social activities, including little walks.
Tēnā, welcome back. An old landfill site at Gore's Hamilton Park is being restored into a native forest thanks to the hard work by local school children. The objective is to plant some 2,500 native trees along the Waikaka Walkway.
So today we've brought our Year 5 students from St Mary's over to help with this cool planting initiative that the Gore District Council have put together to create a native forest at Hamilton Park.
Planting is just a continuation of some planting done probably over a decade ago, and we're just kind of trying to fill up and finish the project really. The plants we're planting is very much a sample of what was originally here, probably pre-European times.
There's lots of different natives that they've been helping plant. They're in groups with lovely people from the Rotary and the Parks and Reserves team, and so they're planting all these different wee plants, and then they put the guards around them to stop the rabbits from eating them.
I think at the moment we've put about 3,000 plants in the ground, so we're planting about 2 hectares, and then we've got another hectare around the corner which we'll look at planting next year.
3 Kiwi astrophotographers have snapped their way into the world's top 25 stargazing photos as part of a competition aimed at sharing the beauty of our galaxy. Shooters from Christchurch, the West Coast and Palmerston North captured the Milky Way at the peak of its viewing season.
Stars of wonder and beauty have brought accolades for 3 New Zealand snappers. Christchurch astrophotographer Nick Faulkner was stunned when his work bagged one of the top spots in the recent Milky Way Photographer of the Year competition.
I was shocked. Didn't expect it at all.
Photoblog, Capture the Atlas, selected 25 digital images of the night skies from around the world, from the Badlands of Utah to the mountains of Eastern Europe. Photographers often braved extreme conditions to capture the stunning images in remote locations. Nick Faulkner's winning entry, called Solitary, was shot at Castle Hill in Selwyn and was the result of 30 hours of waiting and hoping. The perfect shot came after he'd already shot a night sky the previous evening at the site.
Went home, heard about some snowfall that was happening about 24 hours the next day, and that happened, so I raced up again and pretty much shot exactly the same shot that I had shot 30 hours prior.
But he says astrophotography isn't as simple as point and shoot.
What I prefer to do.
Faulkner says his photos can take hours of work as he catches the midnight sky in the many dark and lonely places in the Southern Alps. He often makes hundreds of long exposures with his camera just to get the perfect picture, but says it's worth the wait.
A beautiful night sky, beautifully dark. We've actually got some of the best dark skies in the world.
Astrophotography is an interest he got into about 5 years ago. Faulkner says he loves being at one with the night sky and thinking about the universe. In Christchurch, the South Today.
A small gaming studio in Christchurch has hit the big time after scoring success with Social Deduction, the video game called Dread Hunger. The whodunit-style online game has become a big hit in China and has sold more than 1 million copies worldwide.
Move over, crewmates. There's a new captain in town. Christchurch game development studio Digital Confectioners has scored a big hit on the competitive world stage with their video game called Dread Hunger. It's described as a whodunit-style online game set within an 18th century Arctic naval expedition. Developers say players take on roles as 8 explorers trying to survive in the unforgiving conditions. But there's a twist. 2 of the group are traitors and can call on evil powers to ruin the expedition.
It's the crew's job to try to root out these traitors, and it's the traitors' job to try to sabotage the expedition.
The Dread Hunger game was released in April and has already sold more than 1 million copies, with 260,000 players logging in each day to play.
This has blown all expectations. Like we had no idea. We would be so happy with 1/10 of the success.
Reynolds admits when the team started developing Dread Hunger, most gamers had never even heard of social deduction as a genre. The game has really taken off in China, where social deception games are hugely popular.
We didn't expect that at all. It turns out that the Chinese audience really resonated with our game.
But the large number of players logging on to play the game each day forced the small studio to make some pretty big changes.
As we got bigger, we started getting attacked daily via DDoSes. We've had to put so much resources into anti-cheat, combating cheaters.
He says their success has enabled them to reinvest back into the Christchurch company, with 2 new projects already in development. In Christchurch, the South Today.
Almost $100,000 has been spent at the Cromwell Racecourse on a new safety feature. The racetrack's inside running rail is now made of light plastic, which is much safer for the horses if they collide with the railing.
A new safety feature at the Cromwell Racecourse in the form of a light plastic running rail. The old rigid inside railing has been replaced at a cost of almost $100,000 to protect the health and safety of racehorses.
This is the new running rail. You can see it's very flexible, so if a horse is unfortunate enough to run into it, the whole rail disintegrates.
Horse racing has a long history in Cromwell, with races taking place in the area during the gold rush in the early 1860s. The 160-year-old racecourse is thought to be the oldest in New Zealand that is still running on its original track.
The racecourse itself got established in 1876 with the Government Act. So we're on 90 hectares of Cromwell Racecourse Reserve, preserved by that Act. And it's meant that the reserve is to be used for racehorse purposes.
Cromwell's location, halfway between Wanaka and Queenstown, makes it a good venue for a number of annual race meetings, with the Gallops meetings in late November usually attracting more than 12,000 visitors. And this season will see more harness race meetings, also using the grass track as well.
We've had a great win this year, or bonus this year, when 2 more trotting days have been allocated to our calendar. So we now have 5 race days here.
The next Gallops races in Cromwell are set for Saturday and Sunday, the 26th and 27th of November. In Cromwell, the South Today.
Whai Yakane. After the break on the South Today, an up-and-coming Christchurch para shot putter is off to Australia, and we'll check in on the wintry weather outlook.
Drop when you
Evening, I'm from the Parks Department. Have you got a permit for that fire?
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
My mate John's gone mad. Mad at beds, that is, and there's definitely some method to his madness. Bedlam Bed Sale. This weekend only, John's taken an utterly insane 1/3 off all beds and bedroom. That's 33% off Dunedin's lowest priced beds and bedroom furniture. Bedlam Bed Sale. 1/3 off beds and bedroom. Only at John's Furniture Warehouse, Stafford Street.
That furniture from Stafford Street. And my mate John. Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Tanakwe, welcome back. A promising young Christchurch para-athlete is training hard to put the finishing touches on his shot-putting technique. Rory Poff is heading to Queensland next week to compete in the Oceania Championships, where they'll compete for medals with able-bodied athletes at the same venue.
Shot putter Rory Poff admits he's a competitive person.
Come on, Rory, come on.
The 17-year-old para-athlete has been training hard for athletics' pinnacle event, the Oceania Track and Field Championships, which is due to be held in Queensland next week. 17-year-old Poff is part of a large New Zealand contingent heading over to Australia, but admits he personally still has a few things to work on.
It's not where I want it to be at the moment, but I reckon we'll get there.
The promising shot putter has cerebral palsy, which he says impairs coordination and balance.
Some days it's worse than others, but I try and control it the best I can.
In a world first for international athletics competitions, para-athletes will be competing at the same time as able-bodied athletes at the Oceanias. They'll still be in different categories, but all athletes will be competing for medals at the same venue. Poff says world-class New Zealand shot putters Tom Walsh and Jacko Gill are his inspiration.
I just look up to them and think I can be at the same level or better than them one day.
And he says a good result at the Oceania Champs could open the doors for a shot at the 2024 Paralympics in Paris. In Christchurch, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Maniatoto residents are frustrated by a lack of council action over the repair of bridges flooded 18 months ago in the region. A series of vehicle crashes in Dunedin keep emergency services busy in the city, dealing with cars, trucks, buses and even a tomahawk. And Matt Woods has been named to lead tourism organisation Destination Queenstown into a new era. The former Real NZ boss takes over as the region's tourism operators rebuild. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. We welcome the Associate Editor, Jo Simpson. Kia ora, good evening, Jo.
Good evening. We've got lots tomorrow.
Great, yes. Give us a little bit of a taste as to what we can expect in the paper tomorrow.
Sure. Parental dedication goes to a whole new level for Tom Coltman. His father lives about a quarter of an hour out of New Plymouth in the town of Oakura, and he jumps in his car and about 18 hours later it arrives in Dunedin, and he's done this 150 times.
Right, okay.
Southland Hospital is being swamped with COVID-19 positive patients and is unable to transfer them to Dunedin as they too do not have enough beds. Will Layden's family speak out as his widow pleaded guilty to inciting suicide. That's a rare charge in the Crimes Act, carrying a maximum of 3 years imprisonment. Lack of support in the budget will lead to the progressive collapse of the aged care centre, the sector says.
Wow.
And the Land Hill hearing for Smooth Hill has revealed that Dunedin Airport was never consulted on the unacceptable hazard posed by a new landfill before the consent was lodged.
Right, okay, so that's the latest on the hearings.
It is.
Okay, hey, thank you for sharing that with us this evening, Jo, and have a lovely, safe, warm weekend.
Thank you, same to you.
And now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Looking at the situation, a very cold weekend lies ahead with temperatures in the single figures, sleety showers and blustery winter winds. Heading to the top of the South Island first, Nelson will be showery with southwesterlies and 16 degrees tomorrow. Thunder and hail hang around in Greymouth, reaching a high of 14, while Christchurch looks clear with light winds, also with 14. To our southern towns now, sleety showers with strong southwesterlies through here for Balclutha, the Catlins, Lumsden and Gore, all heading for a high of 7 degrees. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes area, Alexandra, Wanaka and Queenstown look mostly fine with gusty southwesterlies and highs of 10, and winds continue over in Te Anau with a few showers and 8 degrees. To the northern towns next. The southwesterlies continue down through here for Timaru and Oamaru, along with highs of 10 or 11. Over to Twizel and Omarama, it looks mostly fine and windy though, heading for perfect 10s. Down to Dunedin, more showers tonight along with cold southwesterlies as it drops to a chilly 3 degrees, and the wintry weather continues through Saturday too with showers and snow flurries on the higher hills. Expect a high of 7 before dropping down to 3 as the low. And Sunday brings more of the same really, heavy showers and a high of 9 along with a low of 3 degrees. To Invercargill, showers and strong southwesterlies tonight down to 3. The weekend looks wild again, hail and sleet showers along with southwesterlies near gale force. Saturday up to 7 and down to 3, while Saturday heads for 8 degrees with a low of 3. And that's the news this Friday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. Nō reira, kia pai te po, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.